All right, so this is good news if you're a Pacers fan. Indiana has not lost consecutive games since March the 10th. They're 8-0 following a loss during that span. But they got to clean some things up in order to keep that going versus OKC. The Pacers averaging 20 turnovers per game in this series compared to just 12.7 over the first 3 rounds. Pascal Siakam, a big part of the equation here. He's going to have to also step up starting in Game 3. Let's hear from Spicy P, who's addressing the media right now.
All right, we'll take questions around the room. First question here on 2, second row on the aisle.
Hi, Pascal. Guilherme Giovannoni from ESPN Brazil. On Game 2, there were situations where when you guys received the ball and tried to read what the defense was doing, there was time for them to reset. And the times you guys attack right away, you guys were able to create some advantage, especially in the last quarter. Is that a thing that you guys have been working on the last 2 days?
Well, I mean, we gotta be better. At getting to the paint, obviously. But yeah, they do a good job of just converging and being there, in position and stuff. So it's gonna take a lot of work, and again, we gotta continue to get better at it.
Straight ahead.
Hey, Pascal, we are from Spain, and we are trying to tell your story to your fans over there. What do you think the young Pascal would say, who went to the first basketball camp in Cameroon, if you say that you are here today fighting for your second championship in the NBA?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I'll just tell them to be patient. Trust your instincts. Like, you have a good read on what's happening, so just trust it. Believe in yourself. No matter what, there's going to be a lot of down periods, but you just got to keep fighting, and you're going to get an opportunity to do something special. So that's just what I'll tell my younger self, and I think that's just looking at my journey and how it was. It wasn't always just a smooth sailing, it was a lot of rough times, but also a lot of great memories, and it took a lot of just getting through adversity and all that. So I'll just tell them those things.
Dan on the left side.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Rick was just in here talking about the nature of the Thunder defense. Says, if you're not taking a risk against them, you might never score. You have had some opportunities to, duck in, get steals. It's obviously hard work down there, but how do you balance trying to hunt those smaller opportunities versus staying in the flow of the offense?
Right. Yeah, no, you just got to balance it out. Obviously, like you said, they do a good job of just packing everything and making everything disruptive. And so we got to be stronger with the ball, obviously, but also just be decisive. Whatever we decide to do, just do it.
Mike in the front.
Michael Pina, The Ringer. Pascal, you guys only allowed 4 fast break points in Game 2, and you've had such an excellent transition defense this entire season. Just what goes into being so effective in that area for you guys? Yeah,
I mean, we got to get stops, right? So you get stops, you get in transition. That's the first thing, and we got to also get rebounds. If you can't do those 2 things, I don't think you can be successful in transition. We know we can run, that's what we do, but it's not really possible to run if you're not getting stops or if you're not getting rebounds.
Next question over here on the third row on the left.
Hi, Pascal. Tencent from China. So we all know that the Pacers is a well-rounded team throughout the whole season, but does it bother you at all that the team is yet to have anyone score more than 20 points in the series so far?
Not really. It bothers me that we didn't win last game. That's probably the only thing that bothers me right now. We want to win. That's all we really want to do.
Anyone? Alvaro, last question in the middle on 1. Go ahead.
Did I say last night? No, it wasn't last night.
Alvaro Martin.
Last game, yeah.
Alvaro Martin Ritmo. I presume you've looked at the tape of the 2019 NBA Finals and seen yourself play. When you look at young Pascal Lejeune, the young Pascal, what's your reaction, and what's on your mind as far as, boy, I've come a long way in these areas?
Well, yeah, I think I'm focused on right now. I haven't been watching those tapes because I'm really in the moment right now, focused on what we can do to win. But just me as a young player overall, it's just, again, just the growth. I started, all I could really do was just run and play defense and just dunk, there was there was nothing else. So just look at myself now, I just like a little bit more well-rounded, like skill-wise, maturity-wise. I mean, I was like probably 200 pounds when I first, like, you know, my rookie year or whatever. So just being a man, like, I think that's pretty much it. Like, and my skills just developing.
Thank you, Pascal.
All right, those are the thoughts of Pascal Siakam. Hey, that man right there, Tyrese Haliburton, a major topic of conversation after Game 2. What will be his approach in Game 3? We're going to hear from Tyrese. Game 3, Jared Greenberg, Charles Barkley, Candace Parker, Grant Hill, and 3 got you covered with the pregame and postgame. Here's something interesting. The Pacers have scored just 19 total fast break points through games 1 and 2 after averaging 15.5 over the first 3 rounds. Indy got to find a way to push the pace versus OKC, and Tyrese Haliburton, a big part of that. He has had a brilliant playoff run as we take a look at his numbers and wins and losses. Obviously, in the losses, you see a dip down, especially those field goal attempts. But as Jay was mentioning earlier, it's not really about the scoring with him. He's got to play in his game. Let's hear what he has to say ahead of Game 3.
First question, Vince in the back center.
Tyrese, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. When Miles, since the day he got here, pretty much he's been in trade rumors. And when you got here for Sabonis, it kind of opened things up for him in a way. Can you almost speak to knowing what it's like kind of to be in his shoes and what he has meant to you, your sort of tandem since you guys have gotten here and risen through the East?
Yeah, I can't really speak on knowing what it's like to be in his shoes, honestly. I think since I've gotten here, he was hurt when I got here. And I think that you know, he got to watch me play and felt like, you know, the success that I was having, that if we were playing together, that it would be a lot more, you know. So our first experience playing together has been, you know, a lot of fun, and we feel like our synergy and our connection has just grown over time. We constantly are sending each other clips of how we can be better in pick and roll, how I can help him, how he can help me, whatever the case is. We get along really well, and I think that has given us a lot of success. And to be honest with you, when I first came in the league, and my big was Rashawn Holmes, and I love Rich. You know, Rich was much more, he's not a pop guy. He's a roller, has a really good floater push shot. And I always thought, you know, in my career, I was going to be best with a guy who plays above the rim and a pick and real roll threat. Well, now having experience playing with Miles for so long, you know, I feel like he just unlocks a lot more of what I do. And it's been an interesting dynamic to play a long time because Miles isn't this guy that's going to catch a ton of lobs or anything. We've probably thrown 3 alley-oops in the years we've played together. But, you know, it's been really a lot of fun, a fun experience to play with him and get to know him better. And, you know, it's different. Our league is different. He's a pop guy more times than not. But when he does roll, he really opens things up for me as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
Dyson, back left.
Dyson Daniels here, NBA correspondent. I was got a question. What goes into the mental game for you before a game like the finals, you know, with the atmosphere and the build-up and stuff like that? And has anything changed for you from the regular season to the finals in your routine, or you try to keep it the same?
Nah, honestly, I try to approach everything the same way. I feel like if I try to do something different, I'm not superstitious or anything, but I feel like you just try to treat every game the same way, honestly. I still eat goldfish at 60 minutes on the clock. I still go to chapel. On the road, though, I don't go to chapel as much. I kind of do a private chapel session. That's really the only thing that I change. But yeah, everything's pretty much the same. Just try to treat it the same, because the minute that I try to switch it up or put more pressure on myself or our group than there really is, or then that needs to be applied, then I feel like guys can, you know, get nervous or whatever the case is. Let's just be loose, play basketball.
In the front on your right, Jeff.
Jeff Zilgett, USA Today. Tyrese, when someone's at your level, we often hear that there's not a defense you haven't seen. So I assume you've seen everything Oklahoma City is doing with you, but what makes them different? And how do you try to combat that in, you know, such high stakes here, game after game after game?
Yeah, I feel like at the point of attack, you know, they got more guys than, you know, most teams in the NBA that are high level at the point of attack. They're really connected on the defensive end, and I feel like they mix up coverages. I think Coach Dagnall isn't afraid to just kind of do things on the fly. He doesn't do everything that's like very traditional. He will, if you're trying to get a 33, he'll come double, like just out of nowhere, then they've really done that all year. But I just feel like they're willing to mix things up. And, I think the biggest thing is just personnel. Like their personnel is different than everywhere else. But, I think playing 2 games against these guys is really good. It gives me more film to watch, see where I can be better. Feel like I haven't been great by any means through the first 2 games. So, I'm just trying to take what I can to prepare me for game 3 and just trying to be the best version of myself. So just keep watching film, see where I can get better. The answers always lie in the film.
Dustin, up front.
Hey, Ty. Keep going on that note, just how important is off-ball execution in these guys? Just to try to keep the swarming of the defense out of the paint.
Yeah, you got to mix things up. You can't give these guys the same dosage, the same look of anything. If you just try to run high pick and roll all game, they just crawl into you and really pack the paint and nothing's open. And so there's got to be a mix of things. Got to be off the ball, got to be playing off the pitch, got to be coming off ball screens, got to be you can't run the same thing consistently against these guys. You got to mix it up. So we got to do a much better job of that. I felt like I probably got caught in too many high pick and rolls, where they could really pack it in, and then we're getting shots late against the clock, especially in the first half of both games. So we got to do a better job there, and that starts with me just getting us in better positions, playing out of different spots, all those things. So definitely got to mix it up against these guys.
Joe, up front here.
We saw you limping pretty good after game 2, and just a couple minutes ago, Rick confirmed that you were feeling some discomfort. Where are you feeling discomfort? What happened? And I assume you're good to go for game 3, but just if you could tell us what's going on.
Yeah, I'm fine. Really just a lower leg thing. I'll leave it at that. I don't think there's anything more to elaborate. I feel fine, and I'll be ready to go for game 3.
Jamal up front.
Tyrese, you and Rick, I think, have both talked about after the trade, you guys had a dinner. Rick basically put the ball in your hands. That's not always come easy for him or been sort of his ethos. Just what do you remember about that conversation, and to have a coach give you that kind of confidence and trust? Like what did that mean to you?
Yeah, I think when he told me that he didn't want to call. Well, really, the first dinner we ever had was when I first got traded here. Me, Buddy, Tristan, and him at Prime 47, and that was just more getting to know us, more things than not. And I think we just, especially that year, like we weren't very good. We weren't going to make the playoffs or anything. So more times than not, I feel like Coach really just was letting us play and learn as young guys, which I think is important. We played a lot of young dudes. So he was just it was like baptism by fire almost. There was a couple experiences that year where I just had to figure out how we were going to be at our best. And then going into the following year before training camp, he met with me and said that he didn't want to call plays anymore. And I was surprised because I know what the conversation around Coach was, especially from players and point guards specifically. And when he gave me kind of that nod, that was like the ultimate respect. That was like the ultimate trust that I could get from anybody, because he is such a brilliant basketball mind, has been around such great guards, great players. And so for him to give me that confidence, I think, I was really taking my career to another level. And, he's just a basketball savant. Like he's just, we meet, we talk all the time. And I think he's really helped me learn how to watch film, which I think is important. I think that's something that's not talked about enough, like especially young basketball players. Like you can just watch film, but if you're just watching and trying to find your highlights, then that's much different than really trying to dissect things. Like I feel like when I first came in the NBA, I would like get them to clip my shots and clip my assists, and clip my counting stats. That doesn't really do anything. What are the possessions where I'm getting nothing, where I'm holding the ball for 15, 16 seconds, getting off it, and now somebody else has to make a play against the clock. And Coach has really helped me learn how to watch film the right way and watch the whole game, not just my minutes, watch the other minutes, see where I can help other guys. All that stuff is really important and really helped take my career, to another level. So really appreciative of him, and our relationship's going to continue to grow.
Michael up front.
Michael Pina, the Ringer. Ty, you guys only allowed 4 fast break points in game 2. And you've been excellent with your transition defense this entire season. Just what goes into being so effective in that area?
Just next play mentality. I feel like you could say that around, why we've had, these comebacks through the course of the year. You could just say, I think that we try not to dwell on things. I think as NBA players or just as basketball players in general, it's easy to make a mistake and dwell on it and give up a bucket or whatever. But I feel like we do a great job of just getting to the next play. Coach always preaches that. It's really important here in our organization. So we just talk about that a lot. And honestly, if you make a mistake as a basketball player, the first response should be how to fix it, and more times than not, if you turn the ball over or make a dumb play offensively, if you get it back defensively, that kind of makes up for it a little bit, I guess. So, I feel like we've been good transition D all year. We've had a good series that way. We got to figure out how to be better in transition offensively. We got to figure that out as well. But I think we're doing a great job. Guys have taken charges. We've really hustled back and made them have to play, get back into actions and things. So, I don't think there's really a scheme or anything. It's just that next play mentality that's important.
Thank you, Tyrese.
Appreciate it.
All right, continuing with the Pacers story after the break, we're going to hear from Aaron Nesmith, who's played a vital role in these playoffs for Indiana. What do the Pacers have to do to take a 2-1 series lead?